Yo YouTube, what's going on? This is Joe here from DJ NBA Talk, and the topic of today's video are the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I think that they have the potential to become a really scary team in the NBA in the upcoming season. So now I'm going to explain to you why I think that the Minnesota Timberwolves can become a top 7 team in the NBA in the upcoming season, and I'm also going to show you 5 steps that they need to take over the summer to become a really great team. Alright, so first of all, the Minnesota Timberwolves are a team that struggled badly over the course of the last 13 years in the NBA, as they have only won 31.8% or 32% of their games. And in the last season, so 2016-2017, they have only won 31 games, and they were the 13th ranked seed in the Western Conference. A lot of people had high expectations for this team at the start of the season, as they had young potential stars and all-stars in Zach Lavine, Andrew Wiggins, and Karl Towns, who were steadily improving and also did so in this last season, as Zach Lavine improved his scoring from 14 points per game to 19 points per game, while also shooting 39% from threes, which is really good. So Zach Lavine is actually, or has become, a really good three-point shooter. Andrew Wiggins stepped up this game as well. He went from 20 or 21 points on average to this year 23.6 points. So he solidified himself as a 20-plus point scorer, potential all-star. And he also improved his three-point shooting from 30% to 35.6%. And Karl Towns, of course, I mean, I don't really know what to say about him. I mean, he's going to be one of the top 5 players in the NBA in the upcoming years, for sure. He went from 18.3 points to averaging 25 points per game in his second year in the NBA. And also, he went from 34% to 36.7% from the 3-point range. So that is just ridiculous numbers. But still, this team has only managed to win 31 games under Tom Thibodeau, an experienced coach who got the first seed with Derrick Rose in his MVP season. So this last year was really just a disappointment for the team, and now they are of course trying to turn things around. So as you might already know, they have traded Zach Lavine, Kris Dunn, and the 7th pick, which turned out to be Lauri Markkanen, to the Chicago Bulls for Jimmy Butler, and their 17th pick, which turned out to be Justin Patton, who I'm going to talk about in a second. So in my eyes, this was a very smart move for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they have won this trade by far, as all-stars in today's NBA game are just so important, so damn important, and you just need all-star caliber players or even superstars to win game and win championships. And Jimmy Butler in trade for Zach Lavine, who just got injured, who just got an ACL injury, and as we know, or I don't even want to get there, but Derrick Rose, ACL injuries, Chicago Bulls. I don't even want to get any further than that, but I'm just leaving that out there. For Kris Dunn, who is maybe or could be a version of Rajon Rondo, a younger version of Rajon Rondo, with a little bit more defensive upside, and a Lauri Markkanen, who is a three-point shooting big man. But still, the Timberwolves got an amazing two-way player in Jimmy Butler, and also the 16th pick in Justin Patton, who I'm going to talk about right now. He is 7 foot tall. He weighs 226 pounds, which is soaking wet because KD, as we know, is about 7 foot tall. He's listed at 6'9", but as we know, that's just ridiculous. That's not true. He's actually like 7 foot tall, and KD even weighs more than this guy. So KD weighs about 240 pounds. Justin Patton could turn out to be a player just like Clint Capella. If we look at their per 40-minute averages, Justin Patton's averages from Creighton in his college year, and Clint Capella right now for the Houston Rockets. So Justin Patton per 40 minutes averaged 20.5 points, 9.8 rebounds, 1.4 steals, and 2.3 blocks. And that is very comparable to the numbers of Clint Capella, a very good defensive big man for the Houston Rockets, who can finish at the rim, catch lobs, and just punish the rim. Per 40 minutes, he would average 21.1 points, 13.5 rebounds, about 1 steal, and 2 blocks. So I think Clint Capella is the best comparison to Justin Patton. Clint Capella is a bit shorter, he's 6'10", and he also weighs a bit more than Justin Patton, but I think these guys really just compare very well, and that's exactly what the Minnesota Timberwolves would need. A defensive big man, a tall guy, and if he puts on some more size, and if they develop this guy properly, he can be their defensive stopper. So the Minnesota Timberwolves have just turned into a really great team. They now have a 3-player nucleus, but these are 3 two-way players, so they can both score the basketball very efficiently, but also can defend. So Jimmy Butler, as we all know, is a great defender. Andrew Wiggins has not yet proven to be so, but he has the potential. He has a great defensive upside. And Karl Anthony Towns, of course, is already a great defensive big man in the NBA. So if the Minnesota Timberwolves can do just a few of the 5, or in my eyes, 5 necessary steps that they should do over the summer, I got them winning at least 50 games, and I really don't see a ceiling for this team. So the first thing that they need to do is to develop their young rookie Justin Patton, as I think that this guy has a tremendous upside. He can become their defensive big man, so this is very important. So the second step is that they need to become a really scary team to play against. You know, they have to ramp up their defense, and I think that will work out just fine because Tom Thibodeau is a great defensive coach, as we all know. He also did that with the Chicago Bulls back in the D-Rose days, where D-Rose had his MVP season. They were a great defensive team, and I think that they have the potential. They will for sure come back to that level, and teams will be afraid to meet this Minnesota team. This young Minnesota team, full of defensive stoppers, a great defensive rotation behind the head coach of Tom Thibodeau. I think that this team has the potential to become one of the top defensive teams in the league, like Utah and San Antonio, who only allowed 97 points per game. That is the Utah Jazz, and the San Antonio Spurs only allowed 99.4 points per game during the last season. So if they can get anywhere close to that, that would already be great, because they also have the offensive power, the offensive talent, but they need one more thing, and that gets me to point number 3, which is they need a point guard who can shoot the 3 ball. So the Minnesota Timberwolves have still a lot of growing potential over this summer, as there are many attractive free agents to look for. For example, Jeff Teague, who was playing for the Indiana Pacers and is clearly unhappy with that team and that franchise. Another player would be Drew Holiday, who is a solid point guard, maybe not the best option, but he will still give you 14 points and 6 assists. He's not the best shooter. So in order to get a point guard who can also shoot the 3, I have a couple of options for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 1 would be George Hill of the Utah Jazz. He is a great point guard. We all know that he has solidified himself as a very solid point guard. He can also shoot the 3 and defend very well. So he would be a great option and a great fit, I think, for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Next up would be Patty Mills. His days in San Antonio are numbered, and I think he wants to get another great contract. Maybe, or he could stay with San Antonio Spurs, but that's not sure. If the Minnesota Timberwolves throw a great offer at Patty Mills, I think he will be very intrigued in joining this young and potentially great team. But still, there are also many other great free agent point guards in this summer. Of course, as we know, Chris Paul. Derrick Rose is also available, who might like to join Tom Thibodeau again, but I really don't recommend that, because D Rose, in my eyes, should just retire because of all the injuries he just had, and that would just really be a stupid move, because D Rose will still want his money, and most likely he will get injured after 30 games, and he will not be able to play through the whole season, and especially not in the playoffs. Darren Williams of the Cavs will be available if they do not re-sign him. Brandon Jennings, Darren Collison, Tyreek Evans, and also Ty Lawson are other point guards that they can look for. And one more sleeper player is a European player called Milos Teodosic. And if you have not heard from this guy, you will probably over the next months or weeks, because this guy is a great point guard. He's 30 years old, from Europe, and he's very likely to get into the NBA or join an NBA team over this summer. He's just a great overall point guard, very experienced. He's a veteran. He can really facilitate the offense, and he's also a great three-point shooter, as he shoots 38 to 39% from the 3 over his career. Now, the fourth thing that the Minnesota Timberwolves will need to do is getting a backup wing player. So they right now have shooting guard position Jimmy Butler or Andrew Wiggins, small forward. So that are their 2 wing players. Right now on their bench, they really don't have much of a backup. Their backup right now would be Shabazz Muhammad, Bjelica, and Brandon Rush. But as we know, those are not really the best type of players. If they can get another shooting guard small forward slash power forward who can also shoot or just an overall great player. That will really help them. And that gets me to the last point, which is number 5, trading Ricky Rubio. As we all know, Ricky Rubio is a solid point guard, but that's about it. He averaged 9 assists in this last season. His biggest struggle is his shooting, because over his career, he averages 37.5% from the floor. Field goal percentage, that is just horrible. He gives you about 10 points per game and about 8 to 9 assists. He is just like Rajon Rondo without any defensive talents, so he can't defend shit really, and they really need to trade this guy. He has now 2 years left in his contract, both years around $14 million, and I have thought about some trades and tried out some potential trades that they could look at over the summer with Ricky Rubio. One would be trading Ricky Rubio for Jeremy Lin. Very unlikely for that to happen. But also you could trade Ricky Rubio plus the young point guard Tyus Jones of the Minnesota Timberwolves for the Milwaukee Bucks, Dellavedova and Rashawn Vaughn. If the Bucks would agree to this trade, this would be amazing for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm telling you. So the next potential trade would be with the Clippers, trading Ricky Rubio and Nemanja Bjelica for Austin Rivers and Wesley Johnson. That trade could actually work out. I don't know if that will ever happen, but would also be a great fit for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the last possible trade would be with the Phoenix Suns, Ricky Rubio for Brandon Knight. But of course we know that the Suns will not agree to this trade, so this is very, very unlikely. But the trades that I mentioned above are more likely to happen, and I think that the Timberwolves should really push for any of those trades. Yeah, so to sum it all up, I think that the Minnesota Timberwolves can really become a great team in the NBA next season and for the years to come. I think I might just jump on the bandwagon right now, because I do like Jimmy Butler and I like Andrew Wiggins, Karl Towns. I mean, how can you not like this team? And of course I love it if young players like Andrew Wiggins and Karl Towns really get a veteran or a great player added to their team, which gets them right over the top, which makes them a playoff contender team. I'm really excited to see how they will just do in the next season. But I think that this team can really be amazing if they do one of these 5 steps that I just mentioned earlier in the video. So yeah, that just basically sums it all up. If you liked the video, please subscribe, as me and my buddy Damien, we have a lot more content coming out this summer, and we are just very excited in starting this YouTube channel. So subscribe, leave a thumbs up, share the video. That would help us out tremendously. So thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one, and I'm out.